The sports world is on fire right now, and no, it's not just because of another triple-double or a buzzer beater. It's because of Aari McDonald, the fierce, no-nonsense baller who just sent shockwaves through social media after calling out none other than Caitlin Clark in a moment so explosive. Fans still don't know whether to clutch their pearls or grab popcorn. 2 minutes ago, Aari did not hold back. In a now viral interview that's spreading like wildfire across Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok, Aari threw down words so sharp, so direct, and so unapologetically real that even seasoned commentators were left stunned. People crown her like she's untouchable, Aari said, her tone icy calm but laced with visible irritation. But let's not forget hype don't equal heart. Some of us had to grind without the media spoon-feeding us greatness. Boom, the moment that quote hit the airwaves, the internet exploded. Fans of Caitlin Clark, one of the most dominant and celebrated stars in college basketball history, immediately fired back. Meanwhile, Aari's supporters stood up loud and proud, clapping back with receipts, stats, and clips that prove she's been a force long before the spotlight chose someone else. Now, the conversation isn't just about basketball, it's about respect, recognition, and the deep tension brewing beneath the surface of women's hoops. Did Aari expose a double standard? Is this jealousy or justice? And why did Caitlin Clark unfollow Aari moments after the interview dropped? The lines are being drawn. Teams are choosing sides, and the WNBA world. It's no longer just about who's scoring points, it's about who's speaking truth. What Aari said changes everything. Stay tuned, because this isn't just a rivalry anymore. It's a full-blown war, and baby, it's only just getting started. It started out as a routine post-game interview. Just another mic shoved into Aari McDonald's face after another electrifying performance on the court. The cameras were rolling, the reporters were doing their usual thing, and the fans were still buzzing from her ridiculous fourth-quarter comeback. Everything was going normal until one reporter asked what seemed like a simple, even harmless question. Do you think Caitlin Clark's popularity is helping to grow the game? What happened next could only be described as a full-on mic drop moment. Aari paused, looked straight at the reporter, tilted her head slightly, and then said, with absolute clarity, "You mean, is it helping her grow? 'Cause last I checked, some of us been building this game long before the cameras showed up for her." The room went quiet, the kind of quiet that happens right before lightning strikes. And just like that, the match was lit within minutes. That clip was ripped from the broadcast feed, sliced into bite-sized pieces, and launched into the social media stratosphere, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube Shorts. The quote was everywhere, and the takes, they were hotter than the Arizona summer sun. Aari McDonald just dragged Caitlin Clark by her ponytail and threw her into a reality check. Is she wrong though? Why did it take Clark for everyone to care? But it wasn't just the fans who reacted. Players across the league started liking, reposting, and dropping cryptic emojis. Those eyes, that fire, the zipped lips. The WNBA tea had officially been spilled, and no one was staying dry. Behind the scenes, league officials were already scrambling. Not because Aari had broken any rules she didn't curse, she didn't call names, but her tone, her message, oh, it landed hard. Especially with Clark's fanbase, who immediately went into panic mode. Caitlin Clark, who had just wrapped up a training session in Indiana, was blindsided when her phone started blowing up. Screenshots, clips, comments from her team's group chat. Yo, have you seen what Aari said? Girl, what is going on? Are y'all beefing now? According to insiders, Caitlin didn't even watch the clip at first. She thought it was just another jealous jab. But once she did, sources say her entire mood changed. She was stunned, said someone close to the team. Not angry, not sad. Just shocked, like, why now? What did she do? But for Aari, this moment had been building. Because while Caitlin had the headlines, the magazine covers, and the chosen one status, Aari had been grinding in silence. From Arizona to the Atlanta dream, she'd weathered every storm the league had thrown at her: injuries, doubts, low media attention. But she still showed up, still led, still proved why she belonged. And that's the root of it. This wasn't just about one quote. This was about years of frustration finally boiling to the surface. Because every time ESPN ran a feature on the future of women's basketball, it seemed like Aari and so many others were left out, overlooked, pushed aside. "I've been in this league fighting for visibility," Aari said in a follow-up. Instagram lived that same night, and suddenly, it's like one player shows up and now the world wants to act like this game just got interesting. No, that's not how it works. "We built this." Her followers went wild. "Talk your talk. Aari, say it louder for the people in the back." This ain't shade, it's sunlight. But not everyone was cheering. Caitlyn's fans, fiercely loyal, intensely passionate, and not known for playing nice, fired back hard. Why tear another woman down? Is this jealousy because she's finally getting shine? Y'all mad Caitlyn's doing what others couldn't deal with it. And right there, the battlefield was drawn. Two incredible athletes, two very different journeys. One boiling controversy, but this wasn't the first time tension had sparked between them. Sources close to both players revealed that during a WNBA preseason media day earlier this year, there was already frost in the air. Aari and Caitlyn had been scheduled for a group photo shoot featuring league standouts. At the time, Clark was already getting heavy push from the league's PR machine. Aari, who had just come off a career-best game, was placed off-center in the shot while Caitlyn was front and center. "She felt it," said one anonymous source. "You could see the look on her face, like, oh, I see how it is." Aari didn't complain. She didn't say a word. But according to multiple accounts, once the cameras were off, she turned to a teammate and said, "They act like we ain't been here. But we'll remind them." Well, the reminder has officially arrived. But what truly escalated the situation wasn't the media. It was what happened in the locker room's private spaces where real feelings spilled out. Teammates began whispering. Some even started choosing sides. You with Aari or Caitlyn became a quiet litmus test on who understood the fight for respect in the league and who was enjoying the benefits of fresh popularity. The Dream's locker room reportedly rallied behind Aari. "She's speaking truth," one player said. "We all feel it. She's just the one brave enough to say it on record." Meanwhile, over in Indiana, tension rose like steam from a boiling pot. Caitlyn kept practicing, kept posting, but she'd unfollowed Aari quietly, no announcement. Just a quiet digital separation that said everything without saying anything. Fans noticed immediately. Clark unfollowed Aari. "Oh, it's on," one tweet declared. And then came the cherry on top. The WNBA Players Union dropped a statement. While not naming names, the statement clearly referenced the incident. Every woman in this league has fought battles seen and unseen. As this game grows, so should our respect for the many who have built it. Let's honor the full journey. Not just the headlines. Interpret that how you will, but the message was loud and clear. This wasn't just a personal beef. It had become a league-wide reckoning. And as the dust began to settle, just when people thought it might calm down, Aari did the unthinkable. She went on the Pivot podcast, and that's where she let everything out. The episode hadn't even been out for 10 minutes when it broke trending status on Twitter. The Pivot, known for diving into the real, raw, and often uncomfortable truths of sports culture, had just dropped what would go down as one of their most explosive episodes yet. Aari McDonald sat across from the hosts with the poise of a woman who'd been holding her tongue for far too long. And once the questions started rolling, she didn't hold anything back. The moment came about 20 minutes into the interview. So one of the hosts asked, "Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Caitlyn Clark, your comments." People are saying it was shade. Was it? Aari didn't. flinched, she smiled, leaned forward slightly, and said, "If telling the truth is shade, then yeah, I guess I threw a whole forest." The host laughed nervously, but Aari's face stayed serious. "Look," she continued, "I respect what Caitlyn's doing. She's talented, she works hard. But let's be real, the machine behind her. It's not just about her game, it's about what she represents. Blonde, marketable, Iowa sweetheart. And meanwhile, players like me, Kelsey Mitchell, Betnai Delaney, we put in just as much work, sometimes more, and we don't get half the attention. That's not jealousy, that's facts." It was bold, it was honest, and it was undeniable. The comments section lit up instantly. Some people praised her for speaking what so many were too scared to say. Others accused her of making it about race and tearing down another woman. But then she doubled down. "When I was leading Arizona to the Final Four, we didn't get a tenth of the coverage Caitlyn got. We had to beg for highlights." Meanwhile, she sneezes and it's on SportsCenter. That's not on her, that's on the system. But if I call it out, I'm bitter? Nah, I'm done being quiet. Boom, that clip went nuclear. Even celebrities started chiming in. Gabrielle Union reposted it with the caption, "Truth is uncomfortable for the privileged." "Stand tall, sis," Jalen Rose tweeted. "Aari ain't lying. These networks show love to the safe stories, not the real ones." And just like that, the pressure hit Caitlyn in a new way. Up until now, she kept things classy. No clapbacks, no passive-aggressive quotes. But the firestorm was growing, and fans were demanding she say something. So finally, she did. She posted a 2-slide Instagram story. First slide, a picture of her as a kid, shooting hoops with the caption, "Started here. Stay true." Second slide, a black background with white text, "I'm not here to divide. I'm here to hoop love to everyone pushing this game forward on and off camera." Subtle, polished, clearly written by a PR team, but fans read between the lines. Aari shook her so bad she had to call her lawyer to write this. One user joked, translation, "I hear y'all, but I ain't engaging." Others weren't satisfied. She didn't even say Aari's name. Fans argued. How hard is it to just say "I hear you" and "I respect what you've done"? And behind closed doors, the tension was beginning to bubble inside the WNBA locker rooms in a whole new way. The Indiana Fever's next game was against the Atlanta Dream. Caitlyn versus Aari. The energy was electric. The arena sold out within hours. ESPN bumped another game just to make room in prime time. Even people who never watched women's basketball were tuning in for the showdown. And what they got was cinematic. From the moment they stepped onto the court, the vibe was intense. No handshakes, no glances, just laser focus. Aari came out swinging steals, assists, layups. She was in beast mode, and Caitlyn, she answered with cold-blooded threes from deep, silencing the boos and showing why she'd become the face of a new era. But it wasn't just about stats, it was about pride. Midway through the second quarter, Aari hit a step-back jumper right over Caitlyn. The crowd erupted. As Aari ran back on defense, cameras caught her mouthing, "Respect that." Caitlyn, jaw tight, nodded but said nothing. By the fourth quarter, the game was neck and neck. Every possession felt like a war. And then, with 30 seconds left, tied score, Caitlyn drove into the lane only for Aari to strip the ball clean and race to the other end for the go-ahead bucket. The arena went insane. Aari McDonald had just snatched more than a win. She snatched the narrative. The post-game interview was short but unforgettable. Aari stood at midcourt, jersey soaked in sweat, fans chanting her name, and when asked what this win meant to her, she said, "It's not about proving haters wrong. It's about reminding everyone that we've been here. I ain't new to this, I'm true to this." The clip got 10 million views in under 24 hours. But that wasn't even the peak of the drama. Because after the game, Caitlyn was asked about The no viral rivalry, she sighed, clearly exhausted, and said, "I'm tired of being painted like the villain. I've never disrespected anyone. I just want to play." And that's when a surprise twist hit the timeline. An old tweet from Caitlyn's high school days resurfaced. It was dated years ago, but it read, "When you look average, but act elite, hashtag humble yourself, no tag, no mention." But the timing, the tone, it all lined up with a game where Caitlyn's high school team had faced off against a then-rising Aari McDonald in an elite youth tournament. The internet lost it. Wait a minute, was Caitlyn throwing shade at Aari even back then? Plot twist, this beef been stewing for years. Suddenly, people were dissecting everything, old interviews, past handshakes, photos. Every moment between the two was being reanalyzed, reframed, and reinterpreted. Was this always a rivalry hiding in plain sight? And then the biggest twist of all dropped, a leaked voice memo. Allegedly from one of Caitlyn's inner circle, sent to a private group chat. The voice was distorted, but clearly said, "Aari needs to stop acting like she's the only one who worked hard. She's salty because she peaked in college and can't handle someone else shining now." It was messy. It was unverified, but fans ran with it. You see? This is what Aari was talking about, this mindset right here. Caitlyn's camp really out here being shady behind the scenes. The fire was officially an inferno, and yet Aari still hadn't said another word because she didn't need to. Her game, her interview, her truth. It was all out there now, and everyone was watching. The days following the leaked voice memo were pure chaos. News outlets began reporting on the so-called Aari versus Caitlyn Cold War. Sports blogs dropped long-form breakdowns of their entire history, and even ESPN ran a special panel segment called The Real Divide, WNBA and the Politics of Spotlight. Everyone had an opinion now, and the divide wasn't just online. It was in the locker rooms, in fan forums, even in coaching offices. Aari McDonald's name, once buried in the shadow of mainstream media silence, was now headlining every trending topic. And while some thought the moment might pass, it only intensified when new footage emerged from behind the scenes during All-Star voting promotions. In a clip shot 2 months earlier when the WNBA never aired, Aari was asked to react to a graphic that showed Caitlin Clark's face front and center, while hers was tucked into the lower corner. Her response chilling. Aari looked at the screen, raised her eyebrows, and said under her breath, "So this is how it's gonna be." That offhand remark, now watched millions of times, was being treated like a premonition. Fans revisited it with renewed scrutiny, saying she knew the bias was real and that wasn't shade. That was a woman watching history being rewritten in real time. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was reportedly in media detox mode. Her team advised her to cancel all upcoming interviews, stay offline, and focus on the game. She agreed, but it didn't matter. The conversation around her image, her privilege, and her alleged microaggressions had already snowballed into something much bigger than her. And then came the panel. The WNBA's decision to host a public roundtable with players, media reps, and former legends was meant to foster unity, but what it did was light the fuse on a powder keg of unresolved tension. Seated in the center were Aari McDonald, Nico Ogwumik, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and at the last minute, Caitlin Clark herself. No one expected Caitlin to show up, but there she was, sitting across from Aari, eyes steady, hands clenched in her lap. The tension was so thick it felt like you could see it. The moderator opened the floor with a softball question. How do you feel the league is growing in terms of representation? Aari took a breath. It's growing, she said carefully, but unevenly. We've got players who've been putting up elite numbers for years and they're still waiting for their ESPN segment. Meanwhile, others walk in and get the red carpet. Caitlin didn't interrupt, but her face tightened. Skylar added, "She's not wrong. And it's not personal, it's structural. It's about who gets chosen to represent the league." Who sponsors want, who the media wants, and who they don't, Caitlyn finally spoke. "I hear what you're saying," she said softly. "But sometimes it feels like I'm being blamed for something I didn't create. I didn't ask to be the face of anything. I just want to hoop." Aari turned toward her. "And I just want a level playing field. I want little black girls watching this league to know that their grind matters just as much as the girl next to them. That they don't need blonde hair and media polish to be seen." The silence that followed that statement was deafening. Even the moderator looked unsure of how to continue. But Caitlyn, to her credit, nodded. "I respect that, and I hear you." The clip went viral before the stream even ended. Fans flooded the comments. Some praised both women for being mature. Others accused Caitlyn of playing victim again. And a surprising number were calling on the league to stop pushing one narrative and start uplifting the whole story. That night, Aari posted a photo of herself walking off the panel stage with a caption that simply read, "I said what I said." But the real twist was still to come. An anonymous whistleblower from the WNBA marketing department leaked internal memos. The emails revealed a strategy titled Project Elevate, detailing plans to center new faces in the league's promotional strategy. The focus, marketable stars who align with brand goals and national appeal. The document explicitly highlighted Caitlyn Clark as a top-tier candidate for nationwide visibility and suggested limiting simultaneous promotional pushes for overlapping athletes in similar positions. Translation: shine a light on one, dim the others. It was damning. Social media erupted with rage. "So it was never about the game, it was about the image," one fan tweeted. Others said, "Aari was right this whole time. They really tried to erase her." The league went into full damage control. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert released a statement. The WNBA remains committed to celebrating all its athletes. The leaked documents are not reflective of our full values, and we are taking immediate steps to ensure fair representation moving forward. But for many, the damage had already been done. And just when the league thought things couldn't get worse, Aari McDonald dropped her bombshell. In a sit-down exclusive with a major network, Aari shared for the first time how deeply the past few months had affected her. "People see me as confident, as strong, and I am," she began. "But what I don't show is how exhausting it is to constantly feel like you're not enough for the cameras. That no matter how many game winners you hit, how many sacrifices you make, you're still invisible." She paused, then said something that hit fans in the chest. "I almost walked away. I almost left the league. I thought maybe if I disappeared, they'd finally realize what they lost." Tears streamed down her face. Not dramatic, not for effect, just real. And that's when Caitlyn Clark, watching the interview in real time from her team hotel, picked up her phone. She posted a tweet. One sentence: "Aari McDonald is the truth." No hashtags. No PR fluff, just that, and it hit different. Fans, who were once at each other's throats, suddenly began coming together. That's what we needed. Respect. Now this is how you respond. We love both of y'all. Let's build, not break. For the first time in weeks, the air felt a little lighter. But not everyone was ready to forgive the system just yet. Because as the spotlight finally widened, it became clear that Aari's voice had sparked something bigger. A reckoning, and the ripple effect was just beginning. As the dust began to settle, the truth was undeniable. Aari McDonald had become something more than just a player. She was now a symbol, a voice for the voiceless, and a catalyst for long overdue change. What started as a single off-the-cuff comment during a post-game interview had spiraled into a full-blown national conversation about bias, image, and equity in women's sports. The WNBA was at a crossroads, and no amount of slick branding could hide it now. For weeks, headlines continued to circulate. Editorials praised Aari for her bravery, for daring to speak out in a league that often rewards silence over disruption. Her jersey sales skyrocketed, her social media following tripled. Nike reportedly reached out with a revised offer, this time not as a regional ambassador, but with a full-fledged marketing campaign centered on authenticity, resilience, and the players who've been grinding since day one. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's camp handled things with strategic grace. After the tweet acknowledging Aari's greatness went viral, she followed it up with a longer statement. "We all carry different stories. I've never wanted to take space from others. I've only wanted to make space for the game. If my visibility can help more women get seen, I'll use it for good." Much love and respect to Aari McDonald and every woman building this league. The response was measured, respectful, and for many, a turning point. The conversation slowly shifted from tension to truth-telling, from division to unity. But underneath the unity, the scars still lingered. Inside the WNBA's executive offices, sweeping changes were quietly taking place. Marketing teams were being shuffled, diversity consultants were brought in. The term Project Elevate had become a toxic reminder of a misstep that could no longer be denied. Insiders whispered that new guidelines were being created to ensure equitable promotion of all players regardless of marketability or social media clout. But while the league did damage control, the players moved forward, and in the center of it all stood Aari. She returned to the court more focused than ever. Her first game back after the storm saw her drop a career-high 31 points, 8 assists, and a defensive performance that left analysts stunned. Commentators who once barely said her name now couldn't stop praising her. McDonald is not just a star, she's a force. One headline read, "She's rewriting the narrative in real time." The arena was packed. Fans wore custom shirts that read "I've been here" and chanted her name like it was a war cry. And in the middle of it all, Aari remained composed, calm, cool, commanding. But the full circle moment came at the next All-Star game. For the first time, Aari McDonald and Caitlin Clark were named co-captains. The announcement was met with shock and applause. No one saw it coming. The two women who had stood on opposite sides of a media storm were now being asked to lead together. And yet, it felt right, because whether fans liked it or not, both women had grown the game. Both had shown up, put in the work, and carried weight most people would never understand. One had been handed the spotlight, the other had wrestled it out in the dark. But together, they represented the duality of greatness in women's sports, the visible and the invisible, the chosen and the challenger. The night of the All-Star game was magical. The energy was different, not just excitement, but reverence. Players embraced like warriors after a battle, aware that what they were doing wasn't just about points or plays, it was about progress. Aari and Caitlin stood center court, their teams behind them, the cameras rolling. And for the first time since the controversy erupted, they spoke together. Caitlin took the mic first. "This season's been intense. A lot was said, a lot was felt, but tonight, it's not about any of that. It's about all of us, every woman who's ever laced up her shoes and fought to be seen." Then Aari stepped forward. "We don't have to be the same to respect each other. We don't have to agree on everything to recognize the grind in one another. What matters is that we keep showing up for the game and for the girls watching us grow it." The crowd roared, and in a moment that no one saw coming, they hugged. A simple gesture, no fireworks, no theatrics. Just mutual respect. It was the kind of scene that would be replayed for years, used in documentaries, essays, and social justice campaigns. Because it wasn't just to athletes, reconciling it was the symbolic healing of a fractured system. But make no mistake, the work wasn't done. Aari later revealed in a candid interview that while she appreciated the progress, she wasn't satisfied yet. "Let's be real," she said. "This conversation never would have happened if I'd stayed quiet. And next time it won't be me, there'll be another player who's overlooked, ignored, disrespected. So I'm gonna keep speaking. I'm gonna keep pushing." Her words were firm, unyielding, not bitter, not bitter. just real. And Caitlyn, she'd learned too. In a podcast a few weeks later, she opened up about what the whirlwind had taught her. I had to sit with some stuff I didn't want to see. She admitted, I didn't ask for the attention I got, but I also didn't ask enough questions about why others weren't getting it. That's on me, and I'm doing the work now. The fans responded with grace, because ultimately, the story wasn't about Aari versus Caitlyn. It was about how the system tried to play them against each other and how they chose not to let it win. Because this generation of WNBA stars, they're not here for crumbs. They're here to change the table entirely. And thanks to one player daring to speak her truth, that change is no longer a whisper. It's a roar. So now the world watches. Not just the stats, not just the scores, but the voices behind the jerseys. What Aari McDonald sparked wasn't a scandal, it was a revolution. A long overdue reckoning that forced the media, the league, and the fans to confront what's been hiding in plain sight. Visibility isn't always earned. Sometimes it's handed out, but truth is fought for. And Aari fought like hell. And Caitlyn Clark? She didn't run from it. She stood in the fire. She faced the scrutiny, and when it mattered most, she didn't defend herself, she elevated the moment. In the end, both women walked away with something bigger than a headline: respect. But the question remains, what now? Will the WNBA truly change how it uplifts its stars? Will young girls watching this learn that they don't have to play nice to be heard? And will other athletes start calling out the system instead of bending to it? Because one thing's for sure, Aari McDonald's words won't be the last to shake this league. They were just the first to echo this loud. Now it's your turn to speak. Do you think Aari was right to call it out? Was Caitlyn a victim of the system or a symbol of it? And what does real equality in women's sports actually look like? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear everything. No filter, no holding back, because you are part of this conversation too. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the drama, the truth, and the fire coming from the biggest names in sports. This story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning.